2 Kings, 2 Melakim. Chapter 1. Then Moab rebelled against Yasharel after the death of Ahab, and Ahaziah fell down through a lattice in his upper chamber that was in Shomeron, and was sick, and he sent messengers, and said unto them, Go, inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, whether I shall recover of this disease. But the angel of Yahuah said unto Eliyahu the Tishbe, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Shomeron, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not an Elohim in Yasharel that you go to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Now therefore, thus said Yahuah, You shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but shall surely die. And Eliyahu departed. And when the messengers turned back unto him, he said unto them, Why are you now turned back? And they said unto him, There came a man up to meet us, and said unto us, Go, turn again unto the king that sent you, and say unto him, Thus said Yahuah, Is it not because there is not an Elohim in Yasharel that you send to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron? Therefore you shall not come down from that bed on which you are gone up, but shall surely die. And he said unto them, What manner of man was he which came up to meet you, and told you these words? And they answered him, He was a hairy man, and girt with a girdle of leather about his loins. And he said, It is Eliyahu the Tishbe. Then the king sent unto him a captain of 50 with his 50, and he went up to him, and behold, he sat on the top of a hill. And he spoke unto him, You men of Elohim, the king has said, Come down. And Eliyahu answered and said unto the captain of 50, If I be a man of Elohim, then let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And there came down fire from heaven, and consumed him and his 50. Again also he sent unto him another captain of 50 with his 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of Elohim, thus has the king said, Come down quickly. And Eliyahu answered and said unto him, If I be a man of Elohim, let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. And the fire of Elohim came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. And he sent again a captain of the third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went up and came and fell on his knees before Eliyahu, and besought him, and said unto him, O man of Elohim, I pray you, let my life and the life of these 50 your servants be precious in your sight. Behold, there came down fire from heaven, and burnt up the 2 captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore let my life now be precious in your sight. And the angel of Yahuah said unto Eliyahu, Go down with him, be not afraid of him. And he arose and went down with him unto the king. And he said unto him, Thus said Yahuah, Forasmuch as you have sent messengers to inquire of Baal-zebub, the god of Ekron, is it not because there is no Elohim in Yasharel to inquire of his word? Therefore you shall not come down off that bed on which you are gone up, but shall surely die. So he died according to the word of Yahuah which Eliyahu had spoken. And Jehoram reigned in his stead in the 2nd year of Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat, the king of Yehudah, because he had no son. Now, the rest of the acts of Ahaziah which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yasharel? Chapter 2. And it came to pass, when Yahuah would take up Eliyahu into heaven by a whirlwind, that Eliyahu went with Elisha from Gilgal. And Eliyahu said unto Elisha, Tarry here, I pray you, for Yahuah has sent me to Bethel. And Elisha said unto him, As Yahuah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they went down to Bethel. And the sons of the prophets that were at Bethel came forth to Elisha, and said unto him, Know you that Yahuah will take away your master from your head today? And he said, Yea, I know it. Hold your peace. And Eliyahu said unto him, Elisha, tarry here, I pray you, for Yahuah has sent me to Jericho. And he said, As Yahuah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. So they came to Jericho. And the sons of the prophets that were at Jericho came to Elisha, and said unto him, Know you that Yahuah will take away your master from your head today? And he answered, Yea, I know it. Hold your peace. And Eliyahu said unto him, Tarry, I pray you, here, for Yahuah has sent me to Yarden. And he said, As Yahuah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. And they two went on. And 50 men of the sons of the prophets went, and stood to view afar off, and they too stood by Yarden. And Eliyahu took his mantle, and wrapped it together, and smote the waters, and they were divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry ground. And it came to pass, when they were gone over, that Eliyahu said unto Elisha, Ask what I shall do for you, before I be taken away from you. And Elisha said, I pray you, let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. And he said, You have asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if you see me when I am taken from you, it shall be so unto you. But if not, it shall not be so. And it came to pass, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire, and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder. And Eliyahu went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And Elisha saw it, and he cried, my father, the chariot of Yasharel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more, and he took hold of his own clothes, and rent them in 2 pieces. He took up also the mantle of Eliyahu that fell from him, and went back and stood by the bank of Yarden. And he took the mantle of Eliyahu that fell from him, and smote the waters, and said, Where is Yahuah Elohim of Eliyahu? And when he also had smitten the waters, they parted hither and thither, and Elisha went over. And when the sons of the prophets which were to view at Jericho saw him, they said, The spirit of Eliyahu does rest on Elisha. And they came to meet him, and bowed themselves to the ground before him. And they said unto him, Behold now, there be with your servants 50 strong men. Let them go, we pray you, and seek your master, lest peradventure the Ruach of Yahuah has taken him up, and cast him upon some mountain, or into some valley. And he said, You shall not send. And when they urged him till he was ashamed, he said, Send. They sent therefore 50 men, and they sought 3 days, but found him not. And when they came again to him, for he tarried at Jericho, he said unto them, Did I not say unto you, Go not? And the men of the city said unto Elisha, Behold, I pray you, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my lord sees, but the water is not, and the ground barren. And he said, Bring me a new cruse, and put salt therein. And they brought it to him. And he went forth unto the spring of the waters, and cast the salt in there, and said, Thus said Yahuah, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha which he spoke. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, you bald head, go up, you bald head. And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of Yahuah. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and they tare 42 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel, and from thence he returned to Shomeron. Chapter 3. Now Jehoram, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Yasharel in Shomeron in the 18th year of Jehoshaphat, king of Yehudah, and reigned 12 years. And he wrought evil in the sight of Yahuah, but not like his father, and like his mother, for he put away the image of Baal that his father had made. Nevertheless, he cleaved unto the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which made Yasharel to sin. He departed not therefrom. And Meshah, king of Moab, was a sheepmaster, and rendered unto the king of Yasharel 100,000 lambs, and 100,000 rams with wool. But it came to pass, when Ahab was dead, that the king of Moab rebelled against the king of Yasharel. And King Jehoram went out of Shomeron the same time, and numbered all Yasharel. And he went and sent to Jehoshaphat, the king of Yehudah, saying, The king of Moab has rebelled against me. Will you go with me against Moab to battle? And he said, I will go up. I am as you are, my people as your people, and my horses as your horses. And he said, Which way shall we go up? And he answered, The way through the wilderness of Edom. So the king of Yasharel went, and the king of Yehudah, and the king of Edom, and they fetched a compass of 7 days' journey, and there was no water for the host, and for the cattle that followed them. And the king of Yasharel said, Alas, that Yahuah has called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. But Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of Yahuah, that we may inquire of Yahuah by him? And one of the king of Yasharel's servants answered and said, Here is Elisha the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Eliyahu. And Jehoshaphat said, The word of Yahuah is with him. So the king of Yasharel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him. And Elisha said unto the king of Yasharel, What have I to do with you? Get you to the prophets of your father, and to the prophets of your mother. And the king of Yasharel said unto him, Nay, for Yahuah has called these 3 kings together to deliver them into the hand of Moab. And Elisha said, As Yahuah of hosts live, before whom I stand, surely it not that I regard the presence of Jehoshaphat the king. I would not look toward you, nor see you. But now bring me a minstrel. And it came to pass, when the minstrel played, that the hand of Yahuah came upon him. And he said, Thus said Yahuah, Make this valley full of ditches. For thus said Yahuah, You shall not see wind, neither shall you see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water that you may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beasts. And this is but a light thing in the sight of Yahuah. He will deliver Moab also into your hand. And you shall smite every fenced city and every choice city, and shall fell every good tree, and stop all wells of water, and mar every good piece of land with stones. And it came to pass in the morning, when the meat offering was offered, that, behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water. And when all the Moab heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor, and upward, and stood in the border. And they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water, and the Moab saw the water on the other side as red as blood. And they said, This is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore, Moab to the spoil. And when they came to the camp of Yasharel, the Yasharel rose up and smote the Moab, so that they fled before them. But they went forward, smiting the Moab even in their country. And they beat down the cities, and on every good piece of land cast every man his stone, and filled it. And they stopped all the wells of water, and felled all the good trees. Only in Kir Heres left they the stones thereof, howbeit the slingers went about it, and smote it. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords, to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Then he took his eldest son, that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Yasharel, and they departed from him, and returned to their own land. Chapter 4. Now there cried a certain woman of the wives of the sons of the prophets unto Elisha, saying, Your servant my husband is dead, and you know that your servant did fear Yahuah, and the creditor is come to take unto him my 2 sons to be bondmen. And Elisha said unto her, What shall I do for you? Tell me, what have you in the house? And she said, Your handmaid has not anything in the house, save a pot of oil. Then he said, Go, borrow you vessels abroad of all your neighbors, even empty vessels. Borrow not a few. And when you are come in, you shall shut the door upon you and upon your sons, and shall pour out into all those vessels, and you shall set aside that which is full. So she went from him, and shut the door upon her and upon her sons, who brought the vessels to her, and she poured out. And it came to pass, when the vessels were full, that she said unto her son, Bring me yet a vessel. And he said unto her, There is not a vessel more. And the oil stayed. Then she came and told the man of Elohim, and he said, Go, sell the oil, and pay your debt, and live you and your children of the rest. And it fell on a day that Elisha passed to Shunem, where was a great woman, and she constrained him to eat bread. And so it was that as oft as he passed by, he turned in thither to eat bread. And she said unto her husband, Behold now, I perceive that this is a holy man of Elohim, which passes by us continually. Let us make a little chamber, I pray you, on the wall, and let us set for him there a bed, and a table, and a stool, and a candlestick. And it shall be, when he comes to us, that he shall turn in thither. And it fell on a day that he came thither, and he turned into the chamber and lay there. And he said to Gehazi, his servant, Call this Shunammith. And when he had called her, she stood before him. And he said unto him, Say now unto her, Behold, you have been careful for us with all this care. What is to be done for you? Would you be spoken for to the king, or to the captain of the host? And she answered, I dwell among mine own people. And he said, What then is to be done for her? And Gehazi answered, Verily she has no child, and her husband is old. And he said, Call her. And when he had called her, she stood in the door. And he said, About this season, according to the time of life, you shall embrace a son. And she said, Nay, my lord, you man of Elohim, do not lie unto your handmaid. And the woman conceived, and bare a son at that season that Elisha had said unto her, according to the time of life. And when the child was grown, it fell on a day that he went out to his father to the reapers. And he said unto his father, My head, my head. And he said to the lad, Carry him to his mother. And when he had taken him and brought him to his mother, he sat on her knees until noon, and then died. And she went up and laid him on the bed of the man of Elohim, and shut the door upon him, and went out. And she called unto her husband, and said, Send me, I pray you, one of the young men and one of the asses, that I may run to the man of Elohim, and come again. And he said, Wherefore will you go to him today? It is neither new month nor Shabbath. And she said, It shall be well. Then she saddled an ass, and said to her servant, Drive, and go forward. Slack not your riding for me, except I bid you. So she went, and came unto the man of Elohim to Mount Carmel. And it came to pass, when the man of Elohim saw her afar off, that he said to Gehazi his servant, Behold, yonder is that Shunammith. Run now, I pray you, to meet her, and say unto her, Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with your child? And she answered, It is well. And when she came to the man of Elohim, to the hill, she caught him by the feet. But Gehazi came near to thrust her away. And the man of Elohim said, Let her alone, for her soul is vexed within her. And Yahuah has hid it from me, and has not told me. Then she said, Did I not desire a son of my Lord? Did I not say, Do not deceive me? Then he said to Gehazi, Gird up your loins, and take my staff in your hand, and go your way. If you meet any man, salute him not. And if any salute you, answer him not again, and lay my staff upon the face of the child. And the mother of the child said, As Yahuah lives, and as your soul lives, I will not leave you. And he arose and followed her. And Gehazi passed on before them, and laid the staff upon the face of the child. But there was neither voice nor hearing, wherefore he went again to meet him, and told him, saying, The child is not awaked. And when Elisha was come into the house, behold, the child was dead, and laid upon his bed. And he went in therefore, and shut the door upon them twain, and prayed unto Yahuah. And he went up, and lay upon the child, and put his mouth upon his mouth, and his eyes upon his eyes, and his hands upon his hands, and stretched himself upon the child. And the flesh of the child waxed warm. Then he returned, and walked in the house to and fro, and went up, and stretched himself upon him. And the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes. And he called Gehazi, and said, Call this Shunammith. So he called her, and when she was come in unto him, he said, Take up your son. Then she went in, and fell at his feet, and bowed herself to the ground, and took up her son, and went out. And Elisha came again to Gilgal, and there was a dearth in the land. And the sons of the prophets were sitting before him. And he said unto his servant, Set on the great pot, and seethes pottage for the sons of the prophets. And one went out into the fields to gather herbs, and found a wild vine, and gathered thereof wild gourds his lap full, and came and shred them into the pot of pottage, for they knew them not. So they poured out for the men to eat. And it came to pass, as they were eating of the pottage, that they cried out, and said, O you man of Elohim, there is death in the pot, and they could not eat thereof. But he said, Then bring meal. And he cast it into the pot, and he said, Pour out for the people that they may eat. And there was no harm in the pot. And there came a man from Baal Shalishah, and brought the man of Elohim bread of the first fruits, 20 loaves of barley, and full ears of corn in the husk thereof. And he said, Give unto the people that they may eat. And his servitor said, What, should I set this before 100 men? And he said again, Give the people that they may eat, for thus said Yahuah, They shall eat, and shall leave thereof. So he set it before them, and they did eat, and left thereof, according to the word of Yahuah. Chapter 5. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Aram, was a great man with his master, and honorable, because by him Yahuah had given deliverance unto Aram. He was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. And the Aram had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Yasharel a little maid. And she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, If my lord would request the prophet that is in Shomeron, for he would recover him of his leprosy. And one went in and told his lord, saying, Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Yasharel. And the king of Aram said, Go to, go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Yasharel. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Yasharel, saying, Now when this letter is come unto you, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to you, that you may recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Yasharel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes, and said, Am I Elohim, to kill and to make alive, that this man does send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeks a quarrel against me. And it was so, when Elisha, the man of Elohim, had heard that the king of Yasharel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore have you rent your clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Yasharel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariot, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in Yarden 7 times, and your flesh shall come again to you, and you shall be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought he would surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of Yahuah his Elohim, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Parpar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Yasharel? May I not wash in them and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near, and spoke unto him, and said, My father, if the prophet had bid you to do some great thing, would you have not done it? How much rather then, when he said to you, Wash and be clean? Then went he down, and dipped himself 7 times in Yarden, according to the saying of the man of Elohim. And his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. And he returned to the man of Elohim, he and all his company, and came and stood before him. And he said, Behold, now I know that there is no Elohim in all the earth but in Yasharel. Now therefore I pray you, take a blessing of your servant. But he said, As Yahuah lives, before whom I stand, I will receive none. And he urged him to take it, but he refused. And Naaman said, Shall there not then, I pray you, be given to your servant 2 mules' burden of earth? For your servant will henceforth offer neither burnt offering nor sacrifice unto other gods, but unto Yahuah. In this thing Yahuah pardon your servant, that when my master goes into the house of Rimmon to worship there, and he leans on my hand, and I bow myself in the house of Rimmon, when I bow down myself in the house of Rimmon, Yahuah pardon your servant in this thing. And he said unto him, Go in peace. So he departed from him a little way. But Gehazi, the servant of Elisha, the man of Elohim, said, Behold, My master hath spared Naaman this Aramee, in not receiving at his hands that which he brought. But as Yahuah lives, I will run after him, and take somewhat of him. So Gehazi followed after Naaman, and when Naaman saw him running after him, he lighted down from the chariot to meet him, and said, Is all well? And he said, All is well. My master hath sent me, saying, Behold, even now there be come to me from Mount Ephraim 2 young men of the sons of the prophets. Give them, I pray you, a talent of silver and 2 changes of garments. And Naaman said, Be content, take 2 talents. And he urged him, and bound 2 talents of silver in 2 bags, with 2 changes of garments, and laid them upon 2 of his servants. And they bare them before him. And when he came to the tower, he took them from their hand, and bestowed them in the house. And he let the men go, and they departed. But he went in and stood before his master. And Elisha said unto him, Whence come you, Gehazi? And he said, Your servant went no whither. And he said unto him, Went not my heart with you, when the man turned again from his chariot to meet you? Is it a time to receive money, and to receive garments, and oliveyards, and vineyards, and sheep, and oxen, and men servants, and maid servants? The leprosy therefore of Naaman shall cleave unto you, and unto your seed forever. And he went out from his presence, a leper as white as snow. Chapter 6. And the sons of the prophets said unto Elisha, Behold now, the place where we dwell with you is too strait for us. Let us go, we pray you, unto Jordan, and take thence every man a beam, and let us make us a place there where we may dwell. And he answered, Go you. And one said, Be content, I pray you, and go with your servants. And he answered, I will go. So he went with them, and when they came to Jordan, they cut down wood. But as one was felling a beam, the axe head fell into the water. And he cried and said, Alas, my master, for it was borrowed. And the man of Elohim said, Where fell it? And he showed him the place. And he cut down a stick and cast it in thither, and the iron did swim. Therefore said he, Take it up to you. And he put out his hand and took it. Then the king of Aram warred against Yasharel, and took counsel with his servants, saying, In such and such a place shall be my camp. And the man of Elohim sent unto the king of Yasharel, saying, Beware that you pass not such a place, for thither the Aram are come down. And the king of Yasharel sent to the place which the man of Elohim told him, and warned him of, and saved himself thereof, not once nor twice. Therefore the heart of the king of Aram was sore troubled for this thing. And he called his servants, and said unto them, Will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Yasharel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Yasharel, telleth the king of Yasharel the words that ye speak in your bedchamber. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan. Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night, and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of Elohim was risen early, and gone forth, behold, a host companied the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Yahuah, I pray you, open his eyes that he may see. And Yahuah opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto Yahuah and said, Smite this people, I pray you, with blindness. And he smote them with blindness according to the word of Elisha. And Elisha said unto them, This is not the way, neither is this the city. Follow me, and I will bring you to the man whom ye seek. But he led them to Shomeron. And it came to pass, when they were come into Shomeron, that Elisha said unto Yahuah, Open the eyes of these men, that they may see. And Yahuah opened their eyes, and they saw, and behold, they were in the midst of Shomeron. And the king of Yasharel said unto Elisha, when he saw them, My father, shall I smite them? Shall I smite them? And he answered, You shall not smite them. Would you smite those whom you have taken captive with your sword and with your bow? Set bread and water before them, that they may eat and drink and go to their master. And he prepared great provision for them. And when they had eaten and drunk, he sent them away. And they went to their master. So the bands of Aram came no more into the land of Yasharel. And it came to pass after this that Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, gathered all his host, and went up, and besieged Shomeron. And there was a great famine in Shomeron. And behold, they besieged it, until an ass's head was sold for 80 pieces of silver, and the fourth part of a cab of dove's dung for 5 pieces of silver. And as the king of Yasharel was passing by upon the wall, there cried a woman unto him, saying, Help, my lord, O king! And he said, If Yahuah do not help you, whence shall I help you? Out of the barn floor, or out of the winepress? And the king said unto her, What ail you? And she answered, This woman said unto me, Give your son, that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, and did eat him. And I said unto her on the next day, Give your son, that we may eat him. And she has hid her son. And it came to pass, when the king heard the words of the woman, that he rent his clothes, and he passed by upon the wall. And the people looked, and behold, he had sackcloth within upon his flesh. Then he said, Elohim, do so and more also to me, if the head of Elisha the son of Shaphat shall stand on him this day. But Elisha sat in his house, and the elders sat with him, and the king sent a man from before him. But ere the messenger came to him, he said to the elders, See you how this son of a murderer has sent to take away mine head? Look, when the messenger comes, shut the door, and hold him fast at the door. Is not the sound of his master's feet behind him? And while he yet talked with him, behold, the messenger came down unto him, and he said, Behold, this evil is of Yahuah. What should I wait for Yahuah any longer? Chapter 7. Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of Yahuah. Thus said Yahuah, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Shomeron. Then a lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of Elohim, and said, Behold, if Yahuah would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, you shall see it with your eyes, but shall not eat thereof. And there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? If we say, We will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, let us fall unto the host of the Aram. If they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. And they rose up in the twilight to go unto the camp of the Aram. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Aram, behold, there was no man there. For Yahuah had made the host of the Aram to hear a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host. And they said to one another, Lo, the king of Yasharel hath hired us against the kings of the Heti, and the kings of the Mitzrayim to come upon us. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver and gold and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said to one another, We do not well. This day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now, therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. So they came and called unto the porter of the city, and they told them, saying, We came to the camp of the Aram, and behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied and asses tied, and the tents as they were. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. And the king arose in the night, and said unto his servants, I will now show you what the Aram have done to us. They know that we be hungry, therefore they are gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, When they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive, and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I pray you, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city. Behold, they are as all the multitude of Yasharel that are left in it. Behold, I say, They are even as all the multitude of the Yasharel that are consumed. And let us send and see. They took therefore 2 chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of the Aram, saying, Go and see. And they went after them unto Yarden. And lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels which the Aram had cast away in their haste. And the messengers returned and told the king. And the people went out and spoiled the tents of the Aram. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of Yahuah. And the king appointed the Lord on whose hand he leaned to have the charge of the gate. And the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died, as the man of Elohim had said, who spoke when the king came down to him. And it came to pass, as the man of Elohim had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel, shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Shomeron. And the Lord answered the man of Elohim, and said, Now, behold, if Yahuah should make windows in heaven, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, you shall see it with your eyes, but shall not eat thereof. And so it fell out unto him, for the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died. Chapter 8. Then spoke Elisha unto the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise, and go you and your household, and sojourn wheresoever you can sojourn. For Yahuah has called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years. And the woman arose and did after the saying of the man of Elohim. And she went with her household, and sojourned in the land of the Pelishti 7 years. And it came to pass at the 7 years' end that the woman returned out of the land of the Pelishti. And she went forth to cry unto the king for her house and for her land. And the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of Elohim, saying, Tell me, I pray you, all the great things that Elisha hath done. And it came to pass, as he was telling the king how he had restored a dead body to life, that behold, the woman, whose son he had restored to life, cried to the king for her house, and for her land. And Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elisha restored to life. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed unto her a certain officer, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the fruits of the field, since the day that she left the land, even until now. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Aram, was sick. And it was told him, saying, The man of Elohim is come hither. And the king said unto Hazael, Take a present in your hand, and go, meet the man of Elohim, and inquire of Yahuah by him, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? So Hazael went to meet him, and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels' burden, and came and stood before him, and said, Your son Ben-Hadad, king of Aram, hath sent me to you, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha said unto him, Go say unto him, You may certainly recover. Howbeit, Yahuah has showed me that he shall surely die. And he settled his countenance steadfastly, until he was ashamed, and the man of Elohim wept. And Hazael said, Why weeps my lord? And he answered, Because I know the evil that you will do unto the children of Yasharel. Their strongholds will you set on fire, and their young men will you slay with the sword, and will dash their children, and rip up their women with child. And Hazael said, But what? Is your servant a dog, that he should do this great thing? And Elisha answered, Yahuah showed me that you shall be king over Aram. So he departed from Elisha, and came to his master, who said to him, What said Elisha to you? And he answered, He told me that you should surely recover. And it came to pass on the morrow, that he took a thick cloth, and dipped it in water, and spread it on his face, so that he died. And Hazael reigned in his stead. And in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Yasharel, Jehoshaphat being then king of Yehudah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Yehudah, began to reign. 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Yasharel, as did the house of Ahab, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of Yahuah. Yet Yahuah would not destroy Yehudah for David, his servant's sake. as he promised him to give him always a light and to his children. In his days, Edom revolted from under the hand of Yehudah and made a king over themselves. So Joram went over to Seir and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night and smote the Edom which compassed him about, and the captains of the chariots, and the people fled into their tents. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Yehudah unto this day. Then Libnah revolted at the same time. And the rest of the acts of Joram and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And Joram slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Achaziah his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Yasharel, did Achaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Yehudah, begin to reign. 22 years old was Achaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri, king of Yasharel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the sight of Yahuah, as did the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, to war against Hazael, king of Aram, in Ramoth Gilad, and Aram wounded Joram. And King Joram went back to be healed in Yisrael of the wounds which Aram had given him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael, king of Aram. And Achaziah, the son of Jehoram, king of Yehudah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, in Yisrael, because he was sick. Chapter 9. And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets, and said unto him, Gird up your loins, and take this box of oil in your hand, and go to Ramoth Gilad. And when you come thither, look out there Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, and go in, and make him arise up from among his brethren, and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil, and pour it on his head, and say, Thus said Yahuah, I have anointed you king over Yasharel. Then open the door and flee, and tarry not. So the young man, even the young man the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilad. And when he came, behold, the captains of the host were sitting. And he said, I have an errand for you, O captain. And Jehu said, Unto which of all us? And he said, To you, O captain. And he arose and went into the house. And he poured the oil on his head, and said unto him, Thus said Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, I have anointed you king over the people of Yahuah, even over Yasharel. And you shall smite the house of Ahab your master, that I may avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of Yahuah at the hand of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I will cut off from Ahab him that pisses against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Yasharel. And I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Achiah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel in the portion of Yisrael, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled. Then Jehu came forth to the servants of his lord, and one said unto him, Is all well? Wherefore came this mad fellow to you? And he said unto them, You know the man, and his communication. And they said, It is false, tell us now. And he said, Thus and thus he spoke to me, saying, Thus said Yahuah, I have anointed you king over Yasharel. Then they hasted, and took every man his garment, and put it under him on the top of the stairs, and blew with trumpets, saying, Jehu is king. So Jehu, the son of Jehoshaphat, the son of Nimshi, conspired against Joram. Now Joram had kept Ramoth Gilad, he and all Yasharel, because of Hazael, king of Aram. But King Joram was returned to be healed in Yisrael of the wounds which the Aram had given him when he fought with Hazael, king of Aram. And Jehu said, If it be your minds, then let none go forth nor escape out of the city to go tell it in Yisrael. So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Yisrael, for Joram lay there. And Achaziah, king of Yehudah, was come down to see Joram. And there stood a watchman on the tower in Yisrael, and he spied the company of Jehu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Joram said, Take a horseman, and send to meet them, and let him say, Is it peace? So there went one on horseback to meet him, and said, Thus said the king, Is it peace? And Yahuah said, What have you to do with peace? Turn you behind me. And the watchman told, saying, The messenger came to them, but he comes not again. Then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them and said, Thus said the king, Is it peace? And Yahuah answered, What have you to do with peace? Turn you behind me. And the watchman told, saying, He came even unto them, and comes not again. And the driving is like the driving of Yahuah the son of Nimshi, for he drives furiously. And Yoram said, Make ready. And his chariot was made ready. And Yoram, king of Yasharel, and Achaziah, king of Yehudah, went out, each in his chariot. And they went out against Yahuah, and met him in the portion of Naboth, the Yisraelite. And it came to pass, when Yoram saw Yahuah, that he said, Is it peace, Yahuah? And he answered, What peace, so long as the whoredoms of your mother Isabel and her witchcrafts are so many? And Yoram turned his hands and fled, and said to Achaziah, There is treachery, O Achaziah. And Yahuah drew a bow with his full strength, and smote Jehoram between his arms. And the arrow went out at his heart, and he sunk down in his chariot. Then said Yahuah to Bidkar, his captain, Take up, and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth, the Yisraeli. For remember how that, when I and you rode together after Ahab his father, Yahuah laid this burden upon him. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth, and the blood of his sons, said Yahuah, and I will requite you in this plat, said Yahuah. Now therefore take and cast him into the plat of ground, according to the word of Yahuah. But when Achaziah, the king of Yehudah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Yahuah followed after him and said, Smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up to Gur, which is by Yibleam. And he fled to Megiddo, and died there. And his servants carried him in a chariot to Jerusalem, and buried him in his sepulchre with his fathers in the city of David. And in the 11th year of Yoram, the son of Ahab, began Achaziah to reign over Yehudah. And when Yahuah was come to Yisrael, Isabel heard of it, and she painted her face, and tired her head, and looked out at a window. And as Yahuah entered in at the gate, she said, Had Zimri peace? Who slew his master? And he lifted up his face to the window, and said, Who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, Throw her down. So they threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and he trod her under foot. And when he was come in, he did eat and drink, and said, Go, see now this cursed woman, and bury her, for she is a king's daughter. And they went to bury her, but they found no more of her than the skull, and the feet, and the palms of her hands. Wherefore they came again, and told him, and he said, This is the word of Yahuah, which he spoke by his servant Eliyahu the Tishbe, saying, In the portion of Yisrael shall dogs eat the flesh of Isabel. And the carcass of Isabel shall be as dung upon the face of the field in the portion of Yisrael, so that they shall not say, This is Isabel. Chapter 10. And Ahab had 70 sons in Shomeron. And Yahuah wrote letters and sent to Shomeron unto the rulers of Yisrael, to the elders, and to them that brought up Ahab's children, saying, Now, as soon as this letter comes to you, seeing your master's sons are with you, and there are with you chariots and horses, a fenced city also, and armor, look even out the best and meat of your master's sons, and set him on his father's throne, and fight for your master's house. But they were exceedingly afraid, and said, Behold, 2 kings stood not before him. How then shall we stand? And he that was over the house, and he that was over the city, the elders also, and the bringers up of the children, sent to Yahuah, saying, We are your servants, and will do all that you shall bid us. We will not make any king. Do you that which is good in your eyes. Then he wrote a letter the second time to them, saying, If you be mine, and if you will hearken unto my voice, take you the heads of the men, your master's sons, and come to me in Yisrael by tomorrow this time. Now the king's sons, being 70 persons, were with the great men of the city, which brought them up. And it came to pass, when the letter came to them, that they took the king's sons, and slew 70 persons, and put their heads in baskets, and sent him them to Yisrael. And there came a messenger and told him, saying, They have brought the heads of the king's sons. And he said, Lay you them in 2 heaps at the entering in of the gate until the morning. And it came to pass in the morning that he went out and stood, and said to all the people, You be righteous. Behold, I conspired against my master and slew him. But who slew all these? Know now that there shall fall unto the earth nothing of the word of Yahuah, which Yahuah spoke concerning the house of Ahab. For Yahuah hath done that which he spoke by his servant Eliyahu. So Jehu slew all that remained of the house of Ahab in Israel, and all his great men and his kinfolks and his Kohens, until he left them none remaining. And he arose and departed and came to Shomeron. And as he was at the shearing house in the way, Jehu met with the brethren of Achaziah, the king of Yehudah, and said, Who are ye? And they answered, We are the brethren of Achaziah, and we go down to salute the children of the king and the children of the queen. And he said, Take them alive. And they took them alive, and slew them at the pit of the shearing house, even 42 men, neither left he any of them. And when he was departed thence, he lighted on Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, come to meet him. And he saluted him, and said to him, Is your heart right, as my heart is with your heart? And Jehonadab answered, It is. If it be, give me your hand. And he gave him his hand, and he took him up to him into the chariot. And he said, Come with me, and see my zeal for Yahuah. So they made him ride in his chariot. And when he came to Shomeron, he slew all that remained unto Ahab in Shomeron, till he had destroyed him, according to the saying of Yahuah, which he spoke to Eliyahu. And Jehu gathered all the people together, and said unto them, Ahab served Baal a little, but Jehu shall serve him much. Now, therefore, call unto me all the prophets of Baal, all his servants, and all his Kohens. Let none be wanting, for I have a great sacrifice to do to Baal. Whosoever shall be wanting, he shall not live. But Jehu did it in subtlety, to the intent that he might destroy the worshippers of Baal. And Jehu said, Proclaim a solemn assembly for Baal. And they proclaimed it. And Jehu sent through all Yasharel, and all the worshippers of Baal came, so that there was not a man left that came not. And they came into the house of Baal, and the house of Baal was full from one end to another. And he said unto him that was over the vestry, Bring forth vestments for all the worshippers of Baal. And he brought them forth vestments. And Jehu went, and Jehonadab, the son of Rechab, into the house of Baal, and said unto the worshippers of Baal, Search and look that there be with you none of the servants of Yahuah, but the worshippers of Baal only. And when they went in to offer sacrifices and burnt offerings, Jehu appointed 80 men without, and said, If any of the men whom I have brought into your hands escape, he that lets him go, his life shall be for the life of him. And it came to pass, as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, that Jehu said to the guard and to the captains, Go in and slay them, let none come forth. And they smote them with the edge of the sword, and the guard and the captains cast them out, and went to the city of the house of Baal. And they brought forth the images out of the house of Baal, and burned them. And they brake down the image of Baal, and brake down the house of Baal, and made it a draught house unto this day. Thus Jehu destroyed Baal out of Yasharel. Howbeit from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin, Jehu departed not from after them, to wit, the golden calves that were in Bethel, and that were in Dan. And Yahuah said unto Jehu, Because you have done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes, and hast done unto the house of Ahab according to all that was in mine heart, your children of the 4th generation shall sit on the throne of Yasharel. But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel with all his heart, for he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Yasharel to sin. In those days Yahuah began to cut Yasharel short, and Hazael smote them in all the coasts of Yasharel. From Yarden eastward all the land of Gilad, the Gadi, and the Reubeni, and the Menashe from Aroer, which is by the river Arnon, even Gilad and Bashan. Now the rest of the acts of Jehu, and all that he did, and all his might, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel? And Yahuah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Shomeron. And Jehoahaz, his son, reigned in his stead. And the time that Jehu reigned over Yasharel in Shomeron was 28 years. Chapter 11. And when Athaliah, the mother of Achaziah, saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the seed royal. But Yehosheba, the daughter of King Joram, sister of Achaziah, took Joash, the son of Achaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons, which were slain. And they hid him, even him and his nurse, in the bedchamber from Athaliah, so that he was not slain. And he was with her hid in the house of Yahuah 6 years. And Athaliah did reign over the land. And the 7th year, Jehoiada sent and fetched the rulers over hundreds, with the captains and the guard, and brought them to him into the house of Yahuah, and made a covenant with them, and took an oath of them in the house of Yahuah, and showed them the king's son. And he commanded them, saying, This is the thing that you shall do. A third part of you that enter in on the Shabbath shall even be keepers of the watch of the king's house. And a third part shall be at the gate of Sur, and a third part at the gate behind the guard. So shall you keep the watch of the house, that it be not broken down. And 2 parts of all you that go forth on the Shabbath, even they shall keep the watch of the house of Yahuah about the king. And you shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in his hand, and he that comes within the ranges, let him be slain. And be you with the king as he goes out and as he comes in. And the captains over the hundreds did according to all the things that Jehoiada the Kohen commanded. And they took every man his men that were to come in on the Shabbath, with them that should go out on the Shabbath, and came to Jehoiada the Kohen. And to the captains over the hundreds did the Kohen give King David spears and shields that were in the temple of Yahuah. And the guard stood, every man with his weapons in his hand, round about the king, from the right corner of the temple to the left corner of the temple, along by the altar and the temple. And he brought forth the king's son, and put the crown upon him, and gave him the testimony. And they made him king, and anointed him. And they clapped their hands, and said, Long live the king! And when Athaliah heard the noise of the guard and of the people, she came to the people into the temple of Yahuah. And when she looked, behold, the king stood by a pillar, as the manner was, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king. And all the people of the land rejoiced and blew with trumpets. And Athaliah rent her clothes, and cried, Treason! Treason! But Jehoiada the Kohen commanded the captains of the hundreds, the officers of the host, and said unto them, Have her forth without the ranges, and him that follows her kill with the sword. For the Kohen had said, Let her not be slain in the house of Yahuah. And they laid hands on her, and she went by the way by which the horses came into the king's house, and there she was slain. And Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahuah and the king and the people, that they should be Yahuah's people, between the king also and the people. And all the people of the land went into the house of Baal and brake it down. His altars and his images brake they in pieces thoroughly, and slew Matan the Kohen of Baal before the altars. And the Kohen appointed officers over the house of Yahuah. And he took the rulers over hundreds, and the captains, and the guard, and all the people of the land, and they brought down the king from the house of Yahuah, and came by the way of the gate of the guard to the king's house. And he sat on the throne of the kings. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city was in quiet, and they slew Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. 7 years old was Jehoash when he began to reign. Chapter 12. In the 7th year of Jehu, Jehoash began to reign, and 40 years reigned he in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Tsibiah of Be'er Sheba. And Jehoash did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah all his days, wherein Jehoiada the Kohen instructed him. But the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places. And Jehoash said to the Kohens, All the money of the dedicated things that is brought into the house of Yahuah, even the money of everyone that passes the account, the money that every man is set at, and all the money that comes into any man's heart to bring into the house of Yahuah, let the Kohens take it to them, every man of his acquaintance, and let them repair the breaches of the house, wheresoever any breach shall be found. But it was so that in the 23rd year of King Jehoash, the Kohens had not repaired the breaches of the house. Then King Jehoash called for Jehoiada the Kohen, and the other Kohens, and said unto them, Why repair you not the breaches of the house? Now therefore receive no more money of your acquaintance, but deliver it for the breaches of the house. And the Kohens consented to receive no more money of the people, neither to repair the breaches of the house. But Jehoiada the Kohen took a chest, and bored a hole in the lid of it, and set it beside the altar, on the right side as one comes into the house of Yahuah. And the Kohens that kept the door put therein all the money that was brought into the house of Yahuah. And it was so, when they saw that there was much money in the chest, that the king's scribe and the high Kohen came up, and they put up in bags, and told the money that was found in the house of Yahuah. And they gave the money, being told, into the hands of them that did the work, that had the oversight of the house of Yahuah. And they laid it out to the carpenters and builders that wrought upon the house of Yahuah, and to masons and hewers of stone, and to buy timber and hewed stone to repair the breaches of the house of Yahuah, and for all that was laid out for the house to repair it. Howbeit there were not made for the house of Yahuah bowls of silver, snuffers, basins, trumpets, any vessels of gold or vessels of silver of the money that was brought into the house of Yahuah. But they gave that to the workmen, and repaired therewith the house of Yahuah. Moreover, they reckoned not with the men, into whose hand they delivered the money to be bestowed on workmen, for they dealt faithfully. The trespass money and sin money was not brought into the house of Yahuah, it was the Kohens. Then Hazael, king of Aram, went up and fought against Gath, and took it. And Hazael set his face to go up to Jerusalem. And Jehoash, king of Yehudah, took all the hallowed things that Jehoshaphat and Joram and Ahaziah his fathers, kings of Yehudah, had dedicated, and his own hallowed things, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of Yahuah, and in the king's house, and sent it to Hazael, king of Aram, and he went away from Jerusalem. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And his servants arose and made a conspiracy, and slew Joash in the house of Milo, which goes down to Silah. For Yazakar, the son of Shemath, and Jehozabad, the son of Shomer, his servants smote him, and he died, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Amaziah, his son, reigned in his stead. Chapter 13. In the 23rd year of Joash, the son of Ahaziah, king of Yehudah, Jehoahaz, the son of Jehu, began to reign over Yasharel in Shomeron, and reigned 17 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, and followed the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which made Yasharel to sin. He departed not therefrom. And the anger of Yahuah was kindled against Yasharel, and he delivered them into the hands of Hazael, king of Aram, and into the hands of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, all their days. And Jehoahaz besought Yahuah, and Yahuah hearkened unto him, for he saw the oppression of Yasharel, because the king of Aram oppressed them. And Yahuah gave Yasharel a savior, so that they went out from under the hand of the Aram, and the children of Yasharel dwelt in their tents as beforetime. Nevertheless, they departed not from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, who made Yasharel sin, but walked therein, and there remained the Asherah, also in Shomeron. Neither did he leave of the people to Jehoahaz but 50 horsemen, and 10 chariots, and 10,000 footmen. For the king of Aram had destroyed them, and had made them like the dust by threshing. Now, the rest of the acts of Jehoahaz, and all that he did, and his might, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel? And Jehoahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Shomeron. And Joash his son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash king of Yehudah began Jehoash the son of Jehoahaz to reign over Yasharel in Shomeron, and reigned 16 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel sin, but he walked therein. And the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, and his might wherewith he fought against Amaziah king of Yehuda, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Yasharel? And Joash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat upon his throne, and Joash was buried in Shomeron with the kings of Yasharel. Now Elisha was fallen sick of his sickness whereof he died. And Joash, the king of Yasharel, came down unto him, and wept over his face, and said, O my father, the chariot of Yasharel, and the horsemen thereof. And Elisha said unto him, Take bow and arrows. And he took unto him bow and arrows. And he said to the king of Yasharel, Put your hand upon the bow. And he put his hand upon it. And Elisha put his hands upon the king's hands. And he said, Open the window eastward. And he opened it. Then Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. And he said, The arrow of Yahuah's deliverance, and the arrow of deliverance from Aram, for you shall smite the Aram in Aphek, till you have consumed them. And he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. And he said unto the king of Yasharel, Smite upon the ground. And he smote thrice, and stayed. And the man of Elohim was wroth with him, and said, You should have smitten 5 or 6 times, then had you smitten Aram till you had consumed it, whereas now you shall smite Aram but thrice. And Elisha died, and they buried him. And the bands of the Moab invaded the land at the coming in of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, that, behold, they spied a band of men. And they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And when the man was let down, and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived, and stood up on his feet. But Hazael, king of Aram, oppressed Yasharel all the days of Jehoahaz. And Yahuah was gracious unto them, and had compassion on them, and had respect unto them, because of his covenant with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, and would not destroy them, neither cast he them from his presence as yet. So Hazael, king of Aram, died, and Ben-Hadad his son reigned in his stead. And Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, took again out of the hand of Ben-Hadad, the son of Hazael, the cities which he had taken out of the hand of Jehoahaz his father by war. 3 times did Joash beat him, and recovered the cities of Yasharel. Chapter 14. In the 2nd year of Joash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Yasharel, reigned Amaziah, the son of Joash, the king of Yehuda. He was 25 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jehoadin of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, yet not like David his father. He did according to all the things as Joash his father did. Howbeit the high places were not taken away. As yet the people did sacrifice and burnt incense on the high places. And it came to pass, as soon as the kingdom was confirmed in his hand, that he slew his servants, which had slain the king his father. But the children of the murderers he slew not, according unto that which is written in the book of the law of Moshe, wherein Yahuah commanded, saying, The fathers shall not be put to death for the children, nor the children be put to death for the fathers, but every man shall be put to death for his own sin. He slew of Edom in the valley of Salt 10,000, and took Selah by war, and called the name of it Yoqtheel unto this day. Then Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, the son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, king of Yasharel, saying, Come, let us look one another in the face. And Jehoash, the king of Yasharel, sent to Amaziah, king of Yehuda, saying, The thistle that was in Lebanon sent to the cedar that was in Lebanon, saying, Give your daughter to my son to wife. And there passed by a wild beast that was in Lebanon, and trode down the thistle. You have indeed smitten Edom, and your heart hath lifted you up. Glory of this, and tarry at home. For why should you meddle in your hurt, that you should fall, even you, and Yehuda with you? But Amaziah would not hear. Therefore Jehoash, king of Yasharel, went up, and he and Amaziah, king of Yehuda, looked one another in the face at Beth Shemesh, which belongs to Yehuda. And Yehudah was put to the worst before Yasharel, and they fled every man to their tents. And Jehoash, king of Yasharel, took Amaziah, king of Yehudah, the son of Jehoash, the son of Achaziah, at Beth Shemesh, and came to Jerusalem, and brake down the wall of Jerusalem from the gate of Ephraim unto the corner gate, 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver, and all the vessels that were found in the house of Yahuah, and in the treasures of the king's house, and hostages, and returned to Shomeron. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash which he did, and his might, and how he fought with Amaziah, king of Yehudah, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and was buried in Shomeron with the kings of Yasharel. And Jeroboam his son reigned in his stead. And Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Yehudah, lived after the death of Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Yasharel, 15 years. And the rest of the acts of Amaziah, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? Now they made a conspiracy against him in Jerusalem, and he fled to Lachish, but they sent after him to Lachish, and slew him there. And they brought him on horses, and he was buried at Jerusalem with his fathers in the city of David. And all the people of Yehudah took Azariah, which was 16 years old, and made him king instead of his father Amaziah. He built a loth and restored it to Yehudah. After that the king slept with his fathers. In the 15th year of Amaziah, the son of Joash, king of Yehudah, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Yasharel, began to reign in Shomeron, and reigned 41 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin. He restored the coast of Yasharel from the entering of Hamath unto the sea of the plain, according to the word of Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, which he spoke by the hand of his servants Yonah, the son of Amittai, the prophet, which is of Gath HaKepher. For Yahuah saw the affliction of Yasharel, that it was very bitter, for there was not any shut up, nor any left, nor any helper for Yasharel. And Yahuah said not that he would blot out the name of Yasharel from under heaven, but he saved them by the hand of Jeroboam, the son of Joash. Now the rest of the acts of Jeroboam, and all that he did, and his might, how he warred, and how he recovered Damasek and Hamath, which belonged to Yehudah, for Yasharel, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel? And Jeroboam slept with his fathers, even with the kings of Yasharel, and Zechariah his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 15. In the 27th year of Jeroboam, king of Yasharel, began Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Yehudah, to reign. 16 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 52 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yecholiah of Jerusalem. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that his father Amaziah had done, save that the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. And Yahuah smote the king, so that he was a leper unto the day of his death, and dwelt in a several house. And Jotham, the king's son, was over the house, judging the people of the land. And the rest of the acts of Azariah, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? So Azariah slept with his fathers, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David, and Jotham his son reigned in his stead. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, did Zechariah the son of Jeroboam reign over Yasharel in Shomeron 6 months. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, as his fathers had done. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin. And Shallum the son of Jabesh conspired against him, and smote him before the people, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Zechariah, behold, they are written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel. This was the word of Yahuah, which he spoke unto Jehu, saying, Your sons shall sit on the throne of Yasharel unto the 4th generation. And so it came to pass. Shallum, the son of Yabesh, began to reign in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Yehudah, and he reigned a full month in Shomeron. For Menachem, the son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah, and came to Shomeron, and smote Shallum, the son of Yabesh, in Shomeron, and slew him, and reigned in his stead. And the rest of the acts of Shallum, and his conspiracy which he made, behold, they are written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel. Then Menachem smote Tiphsah, and all that were therein, and the coast thereof from Tirzah, because they opened not to him. Therefore he smote it, and all the women therein that were with child he ripped up. In the 39th year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, began Menachem the son of Gadi to reign over Yasharel, and he reigned 10 years in Shomeron. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. He departed not all his days from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin. And Pul, the king of Ashur, came against the land. And Menachem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hand might be with him to confirm the kingdom in his hand. And Menachem exacted the money of Yasharel, even of all the mighty men of wealth, of each man 50 shekels of silver, to give to the king of Ashur. So the king of Ashur turned back and stayed not there in the land. And the rest of the acts of Menachem and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel? And Menachem slept with his fathers, and Pekahiah his son reigned in his stead. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, Pekahiah the son of Menachem began to reign over Yasharel in Shomeron, and reigned 2 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin. But Pekach, the son of Remaliahu, a captain of his, conspired against him and smote him in Shomeron, in the palace of the king's house, with Argob and Aryeh, and with him 50 men of the Giladi, and he killed him and reigned in his room. And the rest of the acts of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are written in the books of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Yehudah, Pekach, the son of Remaliahu, began to reign over Yasharel in Shomeron, and reigned 20 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. He departed not from the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin. In the days of Pekach, king of Yasharel, came Tiglath-Pileser, king of Ashur, and took Eon, and Abel Beth Maacah, and Yaanach, and Kadesh, and Hatzor, and Gilad, and Galil, all the land of Naphtali, and carried them captive to Ashur. And Hoshea, the son of Elah, made a conspiracy against Pekach, the son of Remaliahu, and smote him, and slew him, and reigned in his stead, in the 20th year of Jotham, the son of Uzziah. And the rest of the acts of Pekach and all that he did, behold, they are written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yasharel. In the 2nd year of Pekach, the son of Remaliahu, king of Yasharel, began Jotham, the son of Uzziah, the king of Yehudah, to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yahusha, the daughter of Tzadok. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Howbeit the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of Yahuah. Now the rest of the acts of Jotham and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? In those days, Yahuah began to sin against Yehudah Retzin, the king of Aram, and Pekach, the son of Remaliahu. And Jotham slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Ahaz his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 16. In the 17th year of Pekach, the son of Remaliahu, Ahaz, the son of Jotham, king of Yehudah, began to reign. 20 years old was Ahaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, his Elohim, like David his father. But he walked in the way of the kings of Yasharel, yea, and he made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuah cast out from before the children of Yasharel. And he sacrificed and burnt incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Then Retzin, king of Aram, and Pekach, the son of Remalyahu, king of Yasharel, came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Ahaz, but could not overcome him. At that time Retzin, king of Aram, recovered Eloth to Aram, and drove the Yahudi from Eloth, and the Amori came to Eloth, and dwelled there unto this day. So Ahaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Ashur, saying, I am your servant and your son. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Aram, and out of the hand of the king of Yasharel, which rise up against me. And Ahaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of Yahuah, and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Ashur. And the king of Ashur hearkened unto him. For the king of Ashur went up against Damasek, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Retzin. And King Ahaz went to Damasek to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Ashur, and saw an altar that was at Damasek. And King Ahaz sent to Uriah the Kohen the fashion of the altar, and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof. And Uriah the Kohen built an altar according to all that King Ahaz had sent from Damasek. So Uriah the Kohen made it against King Ahaz came from Damasek. And when the king was come from Damasek, the king saw the altar, and the king approached the altar and offered thereon. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offerings upon the altar. And he brought also the brazen altar, which was before Yahuah, from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of Yahuah, and put it on the north side of the altar. And King Ahaz commanded Uriah the Kohen, saying, Upon the great altar burn the morning burnt offering, and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt sacrifice, and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and sprinkle upon it all the blood of the burnt offering, and all the blood of the sacrifice, and the brazen altar shall be for me to inquire by. Thus did Uriah the Kohen, according to all that King Ahaz commanded. And King Ahaz cut off the borders of the bases, and removed the laver from off them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it, and put it upon the pavement of stones. And the covert for the Shabbath that they had built in the house, and the king's entry without, turned he from the house of Yahuah for the king of Ashur. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And Ahaz slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. And Hizkiyahu his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 17. In the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Yehudah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Shomeron over Yasharel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, but not as the kings of Yasharel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Ashur, and Hoshea became his servant, and gave him presents. And the king of Ashur found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So, king of Mitzrayim, and brought no present to the king of Ashur, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Ashur shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Ashur came up throughout all the land, and went up to Shomeron, and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Ashur took Shomeron, and carried Yasharel away into Ashur, and placed them in Halak and in Habor, by the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Madeh. For so it was that the children of Yasharel had sinned against Yahuah, their Elohim, which had brought them up out of the land of Mitzrayim, from under the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Mitzrayim, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahuah cast out from before the children of Yasharel, and of the kings of Yasharel, which they had made. And the children of Yasharel did secretly those things that were not right against Yahuah their Elohim. And they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And they set them up images and Asherah on every high hill and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom Yahuah carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yahuah to anger. For they served idols, whereof Yahuah had said unto them, You shall not do this thing. Yet Yahuah testified against Yasharel and against Yehudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn you from your evil ways, and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yahuah their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes, and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yahuah had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yahuah their Elohim, and made them molten images, even 2 calves, and made an Asherah, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahuah to provoke him to anger. Therefore Yahuah was very angry with Yasharel, and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yehudah only. Also, Yehudah kept not the commandments of Yahuah their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Yasharel which they made. And Yahuah rejected all the seed of Yasharel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he rent Yasharel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drove Yasharel from following Yahuah, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Yasharel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did, they departed not from them, until Yahuah removed Yasharel out of his sight, as he had said by all his servants the prophets. So was Yasharel carried away out of their own land to Ashur unto this day. And the king of Ashur brought men from Babel, and from Cuth, and from Yahuah, and from Hamath, and from Sepharwaim, and placed them in the cities of Shomeron instead of the children of Yasharel. And they possessed Shomeron, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not Yahuah. Therefore Yahuah sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spoke to the king of Ashur, saying, The nations which you have removed, and placed in the cities of Shomeron, know not the manner of the Elohim of the land. Therefore he has sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the Elohim of the land. Then the king of Ashur commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the Kohens whom ye brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let him teach them the manner of the Elohim of the land. Then one of the Kohen whom they had carried away from Shomeron came, and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yahuah. Howbeit every nation made gods of their own, and put them in the houses of the high places which the Shomeroni had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babel made Succoth Benoth, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Hamath made Ashimah, and the Awim made Nibhaz and Tartak, and the Sepharwi burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anammelech, the gods of the Sepharwaim. So they feared Yahuah, and made unto themselves of the lowest of them Kohen of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. They feared Yahuah, and served their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day they do after the former manners. They fear not Yahuah, neither do they after their statutes, or after their ordinances, or after the law and commandment which Yahuah commanded the children of Yaakov, whom he named Yasharel, with whom Yahuah had made a covenant, and charged them, saying, You shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But Yahuah, who brought you up out of the land of Mitzrayim with great power and a stretched out arm, him shall you fear, and him shall you worship, and to him shall you do sacrifice. and the statutes, and the ordinances, and the law, and the commandment which he wrote for you, you shall observe to do forevermore. And you shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you, you shall not forget, neither shall you fear other gods. But Yahuah your Elohim you shall fear, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, but they did after their former manner. So these nations feared Yahuah, and served their graven images, both their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so do they unto this day. Chapter 18. Now it came to pass in the 3rd year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Yasharel, that Hiskiyahu, the son of Achaz, king of Yehudah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zechariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places, and he brake the images, and cut down the Asherah, and brake in pieces the brazen serpent that Moshe had made. For unto those days the children of Yasharel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nehushtan. He trusted in Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Yehudah, nor any that were before him. For he clave to Yahuah and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments which Yahuah commanded Moshe. And Yahuah was with him, and he prospered whithersoever he went forth, and he rebelled against the king of Ashur, and served him not. He smote the Pelishti even unto Azah and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hoshea, the son of Elah, king of Yasharel, that Shalmaneser, king of Ashur, came up against Shomeron and besieged it. And at the end of 3 years they took it, even in the 6th year of Hezekiah, that is in the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Yasharel, Shomeron was taken. And the king of Ashur did carry away Yasharel unto Ashur, and put them in Chalach and in Habor by the river of Gozan, in the cities of Madeh. Because they obeyed not the voice of Yahuah their Elohim, but transgressed his covenant, and all that Moshe the servant of Yahuah commanded, and would not hear them nor do them. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah did Sennacherib the king of Ashur come up against all the fenced cities of Yehudah, and took them. And Hezekiah, king of Yehudah, sent to the king of Ashur to Lachish, saying, I have offended, return from me, that which you put on me will I bear. And the king of Ashur appointed unto Hezekiah of Yehudah 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of Yahuah, and in the treasures of the king's house. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yahuah, and from the pillars which Hezekiah king of Yehudah had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Ashur. And the king of Ashur sent Tartan, and Rabsaris, and Rabshakeh from Lachish, to King Hezekiah, a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem. And when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna, the scribe, and Yoach, the son of Asaph, the recorder. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah, thus said the great king, the king of Ashur, what confidence is this wherein you trust? You say, but they are but vain words, I have counsel and strength for the war. Now, on whom do you trust, that you rebelled against me? Now behold, you trust upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Mitzrayim, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand, and pierce it. So is Paro, the king of Mitzrayim, unto all that trust on him. But if you say unto me, We trust in Yahuah our Elohim, is not that he, whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah has taken away, and has said to Yehudah and Jerusalem, You shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem? Now therefore, I pray you, give pledges to my lord the king of Ashur, And I will deliver you 2,000 horses, if you be able on your part to set riders upon them. How then will you turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servants, and put your trust on Mitzrayim for chariots and for horsemen? Am I now come up without Yahuah against this place to destroy it? Yahuah said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiyahu, and Shebna, and Yoach, unto Rabshakeh, Speak, I pray you, to your servants in the Amorith language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Yehudaith language, in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Has my master sent me to your master, and to you, to speak these words? Has he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung, and drink their own piss with you? Then Rabshakeh stood and cried out with a loud voice in the Yehudaith language, and spoke, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Ashur. Thus said the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yahuah, saying, Yahuah will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Ashur. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus said the king of Ashur, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and then eat you every man of his own vine, and every one of his fig tree, and drink you every one the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of olive oil and of honey, that you may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuades you, saying, Yahuah will deliver us. Has any of the gods of the nations delivered at all his land out of the hand of the king of Ashur? Where are the gods of Hamath and Arpad? Where are the gods of Sepharwaim, Henah, and Awah? Have they delivered Shomeron out of mine hand? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that Yahuah should deliver Jerusalem out of mine hand? But the people held their peace, and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was, saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Yoach the son of Asaph the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Chapter 19. And it came to pass, when King Hezekiah heard it, that he rent his clothes, and covered himself with sackcloth, and went into the house of Yahuah. And he sent Eliakim, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the Kohen, covered with sackcloth, to Yeshayahu the prophet, the son of Amoz. And they said unto him, Thus said Hezekiah, This day is a day of trouble, and of rebuke and blasphemy. For the children are come to the birth, and there is not strength to bring it forth. It may be Yahuah your Elohim will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Ashur his master hath sent to reproach the living Elohim, and will reprove the words which Yahuah your Elohim has heard. Wherefore lift up your prayer for the remnant that are left. So the servants of King Hezekiah came to Yeshayahu, and Yeshayahu said unto them, Thus shall you say to your master, Thus said Yahuah, Be not afraid of the words which you have heard, with which the servants of the king of Ashur have blasphemed me. Behold, I will send a blast upon him, and he shall hear a rumor, and shall return to his own land, and I will cause him to fall by the sword in his own land. So Rabshakeh returned, and found the king of Ashur warring against Libnah, for he had heard that he was departed from Lachish. And when he heard say of Tirhakah, king of Cush, Behold, he is come out to fight against you, he sent messengers again to Hezekiah, saying, Thus shall you speak to Hezekiah, king of Yehudah, saying, Let not your Elohim in whom you trust deceive you, saying, Jerusalem shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Ashur. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Ashur have done to all lands, by destroying them utterly. And shall you be delivered? Have the gods of the nations delivered them which my fathers have destroyed, as Gozan, and Haran, and Retseph, and the children of Aden, which were in Tel Assar? Where is the king of Hamath, and the king of Arpad, and the king of the city of Sepharwaim, of Henah and Yahuah?" And Hezekiah received the letter of the hand of the messengers and read it. And Hezekiah went up to the house of Yahuah and spread it before Yahuah. And Hezekiah prayed before Yahuah and said, "O Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, which dwell between the cherubim, you are the Elohim, even you alone, of all the kingdoms of the earth. You have made heaven and earth. Yahuah, bow down your ear and hear. Open, Yahuah, your eyes and see, and hear the words of Sennacherib, which has sent him to reproach the living Elohim. Of a truth, Yahuah, the kings of Ashur have destroyed the nations and their lands, and have cast their gods into the fire, for they were no gods, but the work of men's hands, wood and stone. Therefore they have destroyed them. Now, therefore, O Yahuah, our Elohim, I beseech you, save you us out of his hand, that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you are Yahuah Elohim, even you only." Then Yeshayahu, the son of Amoz, sent to Hezekiah, saying, "Thus said Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, that which you have prayed to me against Sennacherib, king of Ashur, I have heard. This is the word that Yahuah has spoken concerning him. The virgin, the daughter of Zion, has despised you and laughed you to scorn. The daughter of Jerusalem has shaken her head at you. Whom have you reproached and blasphemed? And against whom have you exalted your voice and lifted up your eyes on high? Even against the Kadosh one of Yasharel. By your messengers you have reproached Adonai, and have said, With the multitude of my chariots I am come up to the height of the mountains, to the sides of Lebanon, and will cut down the tall cedar trees thereof, and the choice fir trees thereof. And I will enter into the lodgings of his borders, and into the forest of his Carmel. I have dug and drunk strange waters, and with the sole of my feet I have dried up all the rivers of besieged places. Have you not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Now have I brought it to pass, that you should be to lay waste fenced cities into ruinous heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were of small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, and as the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, and as corn blasted before it be grown up. But I know your abode, and your going out, and your coming in, and your rage against me. Because your rage against me, and your tumult is come up into mine ears, therefore I will put my hook in your nose, and my bridle in your lips, and I will turn you back by the way which you came. And this shall be a sign unto you. You shall eat this year such things as grow of themselves, and in the second year that which springs of the same. And in the third year sow you, and reap, and plant vineyards, and eat the fruits thereof. And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Yehudah shall yet again take root downward, and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of Yahuah of hosts shall do this. Therefore thus said Yahuah concerning the king of Ashur, He shall not come into this city, nor shoot an arrow there, nor come before it with shield, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, and shall not come into this city, said Yahuah. For I will defend this city to save it, for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake. And it came to pass that night that the angel of Yahuah went out and smote the camp of the Ashur 185,000. And when they arose early in the morning, behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib king of Ashur departed, and went and returned, and dwelt at Nineveh. And it came to pass, as he was worshipping in the house of Nisroch, his god, that Adram-melech and Shar-etzer, his sons, smote him with the sword. And they escaped into the land of Ararat, and Esarhaddon, his son, reigned in his stead. Chapter 20. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and the prophet Yeshayahu the son of Amoz came to him, and said unto him, Thus said Yahuah, Set your house in order, for you shall die and not live. Then he turned his face to the wall, and prayed unto Yahuah, saying, I beseech you, O Yahuah, remember now how I have walked before you in truth, and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in your sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came to pass, afore Yeshayahu had gone out into the middle court, that the word of Yahuah came to him, saying, Turn again, and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, Thus said Yahuah, the Elohim of David your father, I have heard your prayer, I have seen your tears. Behold, I will heal you. On the third day you shall go up into the house of Yahuah, and I will add unto your days 15 years. And I will deliver you and this city out of the hand of the king of Ashur, and I will defend this city for mine own sake, and for my servant David's sake. And Yeshayahu said, Take a lump of figs. And they took, and laid it on the boil, and he recovered. And Hezekiah said unto Yeshayahu, What shall be the sign that Yahuah will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of Yahuah the third day? And Yeshayahu said, This sign shall you have of Yahuah, that Yahuah will do the thing that he has spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees, or go back 10 degrees? And Hezekiah said, It is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees, nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees. And Yeshayahu the prophet cried unto Yahuah, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz. At that time Merodach Baal-Adon, the son of Baal-Adon, king of Babel, sent letters and a present unto Hezekiah, for he had heard that Hezekiah had been sick. And Hezekiah hearkened unto them, and showed them all the house of his precious things, the silver, and the gold, and the spices, and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his dominion, that Hezekiah showed them not. Then came Yeshayahu the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men, and from whence came they unto you? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country, even from Babel. And he said, What had they seen in your house? And Hezekiah answered, All the things that are in mine house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. And Yeshayahu said unto Hezekiah, Hear the word of Yahuah. Behold, the days are come, that all that is in your house, and that which your fathers have laid up in store unto this day, shall be carried into Babel. Nothing shall be left, said Yahuah. And your sons that shall issue from you, which you shall beget, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babel. Then said Hezekiah unto Yeshayahu, Good is the word of Yahuah which you have spoken. And he said, Is it not good, if peace and truth be in my days? And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit, and brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 21. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, after the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahuah cast out before the children of Yasharel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed, and he reared up altars for Baal, and made an Asherah, as did Ahab king of Yasharel, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served them. And he built altars in the house of Yahuah, of which Yahuah said, In Jerusalem will I put my name. And he built altars for all the host of heaven in the 2 courts of the house of Yahuah. And he made his son to pass through the fire, and observed times, and used enchantments, and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. He wrought much wickedness in the sight of Yahuah to provoke him to anger. And he set a graven image of the Asherah that he had made in the house, of which Yahuah said to David and to Shlomo his son, In this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Yasharel, will I put my name forever. Neither will I make the feet of Yasharel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moshe commanded them. But they hearkened not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom Yahuah destroyed before the children of Yasharel. And Yahuah spoke by his servants the prophets, saying, Because Manasseh, king of Yehudah, has done these abominations, and has done wickedly above all that the Emori did, which were before him, and hath made Yehudah also to sin with his idols. Therefore thus said Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, Behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Yehudah, that whosoever hears of it, both his ears shall tingle. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Shomeron, and the plummet of the house of Ahab. And I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipes a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down. And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies. And they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies, because they have done that which was evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger, since the day their fathers came forth out of Mitzrayim, even unto this day. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, beside his sin wherewith he made Yehudah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah. Now, the rest of the acts of Manasseh and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And Manasseh slept with his fathers and was buried in the garden of his own house. In the garden of Uzzah, and Ammon his son reigned in his stead. Ammon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Meshulameth, the daughter of Harutz of Yotbah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, as his father Manasseh did. And he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idols that his father served, and worshipped them. And he forsook Yahuah Elohim of his fathers, and walked not in the way of Yahuah. And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and slew the king in his own house. And the people of the land slew all them that had conspired against King Ammon, and the people of the land made Yoshiyahu his son king in his stead. Now the rest of the acts of Ammon which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And he was buried in his sepulchre in the garden of Uzzah, and Yoshiyahu his son reigned in his stead. Chapter 22. Yoshiyahu was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Yedidah, the daughter of Adayahu of Batskath. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yahuah, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And it came to pass in the 18th year of King Yoshiyahu, that the king sent Shaphan, the son of Atzalyahu, the son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the house of Yahuah, saying, Go up to Hilkiyahu the high Kohen, that he may sum the silver which is brought into the house of Yahuah, which the keepers of the door have gathered of the people. And let them deliver it into the hand of the doers of the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahuah, and let them give it to the doers of the work which is in the house of Yahuah, to repair the breaches of the house, unto carpenters and builders and masons, and to buy timber and hewn stone to repair the house. Howbeit there was no reckoning made with them of the money that was delivered into their hand, because they dealt faithfully. And Hilkiyahu the high Kohen said unto Shaphan the scribe, I have found the book of the law of the house of Yahuah. And Hilkiyahu gave the book to Shaphan, and he read it. And Shaphan the scribe came to the king, and brought the king word again, and said, Your servants have gathered the money that was found in the house, and have delivered it into the hand of them that do the work, that have the oversight of the house of Yahuah. And Shaphan the scribe showed the king, saying, Hilkiyahu the Kohen hath delivered me a book. And Shaphan read it before the king. And it came to pass, when the king had heard the words of the book of the law, that he rent his clothes. And the king commanded Hilkiyahu the Kohen, and Ahikam the son of Shaphan, and Achbor the son of Micaiah, and Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah a servant of the king, saying, Go you, inquire of Yahuah for me, and for the people, and for all Yehudah, concerning the words of this book that is found. For great is the wrath of Yahuah that is kindled against us, because our fathers have not hearkened unto the words of this book, to do according unto all that which is written concerning us. So Hilkiah the Kohen, and Achikam, and Achbor, and Shaphan, and Asaiah went to Huldah, the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, the son of Tikwa, the son of Harkas, keeper of the wardrobe. Now she dwelt in Jerusalem in the college, and they communed with her. And she said unto them, Thus said Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, Tell the man that sent you to me. Thus said Yahuah, Behold, I will bring evil upon this place, and upon the inhabitants thereof, even all the words of the book which the king of Yehudah has read, because they have forsaken me, and have burned incense unto other gods, that they might provoke me to anger with all the works of their hands. Therefore my wrath shall be kindled against this place, and shall not be quenched. But to the king of Yehudah, which sent you to inquire of Yahuah, thus shall you say to him, Thus said Yahuah Elohim of Yasharel, as touching the words which you have heard, because your heart was tender, and you have humbled yourself before Yahuah when you heard what I spoke against this place, and against the inhabitants thereof, that they should become a desolation and a curse, and have rent your clothes and wept before me. I also have heard you, said Yahuah. Behold, therefore, I will gather you unto your fathers, and you shall be gathered into your grave in peace. And your eyes shall not see all the evil which I will bring upon this place. And they brought the king word again. Chapter 23. And the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Yehudah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahuah, and all the men of Yehudah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the Kohens, and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the books of the covenant which was found in the house of Yahuah. And the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before Yahuah, to walk after Yahuah, and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high Kohen, and the Kohen of the second order, and the keepers of the door, to bring forth out of the temple of Yahuah all the vessels that were made for Baal, and for Asherah, and for all the host of heaven. And he burned them without Jerusalem in the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous Kohen, whom the kings of Yehudah had ordained to burn incense in the high places, in the cities of Yehudah, and in the places round about Jerusalem. Them also that burned incense unto Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the host of heaven. And he brought out the Asherah from the house of Yahuah, without Jerusalem, unto the brook Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the male prostitutes that were by the house of Yahuah, where the women wove hangings for Asherah. And he brought all the Kohen out of the cities of Yehudah, and defiled the high places where the Kohen had burned incense, from Gebah to Be'er Sheba, and brake down the high places of the gates that were in the entering in of the gate of Yahusha, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the Kohen of the high places came not up to the altar of Yahuah in Jerusalem, but they did eat of the matzah among their brethren. And he defiled Topheth, which is in the valley of the children of Hinnom, that no man might make his son or his daughter to pass through the fire to Molech. And he took away the horses that the kings of Yehudah had given to the sun, at the entering in of the house of Yahuah, by the chamber of Nathan-melech, the chamberlain, which was in the suburbs, and burned the chariots of the sun with fire. And the altars that were on top of the upper chamber of Achaz, which the kings of Yehudah had made, and the altars which Manasseh had made in the two courts of the house of Yahuah, did the king beat down, and brake them down from thence, and cast the dust of them into the brook Kidron. and the high places that were before Jerusalem, which were on the right hand of the Mount of Corruption, which Shalomo the king of Yasharel had built for Ashtoreth, the abomination of the Tzidoni, and for Chemosh, the abomination of the Moab, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, did the king defile. And he brake in pieces the images, and cut down the Asherah, and filled their places with the bones of men. Moreover, the altar that was at Bethel, and the high place which Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Yasharel to sin, had made, both that altar and the high place he brake down, and burned the high place, and stamped it to small powder, and burned the Asherah. And as Yoshiyahu turned himself, he spied the sepulchres that were there in the mount, and sent, and took the bones out of the sepulchres, and burned them upon the altar, and polluted it, according to the word of Yahuah, which the man of Elohim proclaimed, who proclaimed these words. Then he said, What title is that I see? And the men of the city told him, It is the sepulchre of the man of Elohim, which came from Yehudah, and proclaimed these things that you have done against the altar of Bethel. And he said, Let him alone, let no man move his bones. So they let his bones alone, with the bones of the prophet that came out of Shomeron. And all the houses also of the high places that were in the cities of Shomeron, which the kings of Yasharel had made to provoke Yahuah to anger, Yoshiyahu took away, and did to them according to all the acts that he had done in Bethel. And he slew all the Kohen of the high places that were there upon the altars, and burned men's bones upon them, and returned to Jerusalem. And the king commanded all the people, saying, Keep the Pasach unto Yahuah your Elohim, as it is written in the book of this covenant. Surely there was not holden such a Pasach from the days of the judges that judged Yasharel, nor in all the days of the kings of Yasharel, nor of the kings of Yehudah. But in the 18th year of King Yoshiyahu, wherein this Pasach was holden to Yahuah in Jerusalem. Moreover, the workers with familiar spirits, and the wizards, and the images, and the idols, and all the abominations that were spied in the land of Yehudah, and in Jerusalem did Yoshiyahu put away, that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book that Kilkiyahu the Kohen found in the house of Yahuah. And like unto him was there no king before him that turned to Yahuah with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the law of Moshe. Neither after him arose there any like him. Notwithstanding, Yahuah turned not from the fierceness of his great wrath, wherewith his anger was kindled against Yehudah, because of all the provocations that Manasseh had provoked him withal. And Yahuah said, I will remove Yehudah also out of my sight, as I have removed Yasharel, and will cast off this city Jerusalem which I have chosen, and the house of which I said, My name shall be there. Now, the rest of the acts of Yoshiyahu, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? In his days, Paro-Necho, king of Mitzrayim, went up against the king of Ashur to the river Perath, and King Yoshiyahu went against him, and he slew him at Megiddon when he had seen him. And his servants carried him in a chariot dead from Megiddon, and brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his own sepulchre. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, the son of Yoshiyahu, and anointed him, and made him king in his father's stead. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 3 months in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Chamutal, the daughter of Yarmeyahu of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that his fathers had done. And Pharaoh-Necho put him in bands at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, that he might not reign in Jerusalem. And he put the land to a tribute of 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. And Pharaoh-Necho made Eliakim the son of Yoshiyahu king in the room of Yoshiyahu his father, and turned his name to Jehoiakim, and took Jehoahaz away, and he came to Mitzrayim and died there. And Jehoiakim gave the silver and gold to Pharaoh, but he taxed the land to give the money according to the commandment of Pharaoh. He exacted the silver and the gold of the people of the land, of every one according to his taxation, to give it unto Pharaoh-Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Zebidah, the daughter of Pedaiah of Ramah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that his fathers had done. Chapter 24. In his days Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant 3 years. Then he turned and rebelled against him. And Yahuah sent against him bands of the Kasdi, and bands of the Aram, and bands of the Moab, and bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Yehudah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahuah, which he spoke by his servants the prophets. Surely at the commandment of Yahuah came this upon Yehudah to remove them out of his sights, for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yahuah would not pardon. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiachin his son reigned in his stead. And the king of Mitzrayim came not again any more out of his land, for the king of Babel had taken from the river of Mitzrayim unto the river Perath all that pertained to the king of Mitzrayim. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. And his mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that his father had done. At that time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came against the city, and his servants did besiege it. And Jehoiachin, king of Yehudah, went out to the king of Babel, he and his mother, and his servants, and his princes, and his officers, and the king of Babel took him in the 8th year of his reign. And he carried out thence all the treasures of the house of Yahuah, and the treasures of the king's house, and cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Shlomo, king of Yasharel, had made in the temple of Yahuah, as Yahuah had said. And he carried away all Jerusalem, and all the princes, and all the mighty men of valor, even 10,000 captives, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained, save the poorest sort of the people of the land. And he carried away Jehoiachin to Babel, and the king's mother, and the king's wives, and his officers, and the mighty of the land. Those carried he into captivity from Jerusalem to Babel. And all the men of might, even 7,000, and craftsmen and smiths 1,000, all that were strong and apt for war, even them the king of Babel brought captive to Babel. And the king of Babel made Mattanyahu, his father's brother, king in his stead, and changed his name to Tzidkiyahu. Tzidkiyahu was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamutal, the daughter of Yarmeyahu of Libnah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yahuah, according to all that Jehoiakim had done. For through the anger of Yahuah it came to pass in Jerusalem and Yehudah, until he had cast them out from his presence, that Tzidkiyahu rebelled against the king of Babel. Chapter 25. And it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, in the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came, he and all his host, against Jerusalem, and pitched against it, and they built forts against it round about. And the city was besieged unto the 11th year of King Tzidkiyahu. And on the 9th day of the 4th month the famine prevailed in the city, and there was no bread for the people of the land. And the city was broken up, and all the men of war fled by night by the way of the gate between 2 walls, which is by the king's garden. Now the Kasdi were against the city round about, and the king went the way toward the plain. And the army of the Kasdi pursued after the king, and overtook him in the plains of Jericho, and all his army were scattered from him. So they took the king, and brought him up to the king of Babel to Riblah, and they gave judgment upon him. And they slew the sons of Tzidkiyahu before his eyes, and put out the eyes of Tzidkiyahu, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babel. And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is in the 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babel, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of Yahuah, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. And all the army of the Chaldee that were with the captain of the guard brake down the walls of Jerusalem round about. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city, and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babel, with the remnant of the multitude, did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land to be vine dressers and husbandmen. And the pillars of brass that were in the house of Yahuah, and the bases, and the brazen sea that was in the house of Yahuah, did the Chaldee break in pieces, and carried the brass of them to Babel. And the pots, and the shovels, and the snuffers, and the spoons, and all the vessels of brass wherewith they ministered, took they away. And the firepans, and the bowls, and such things as were of gold, in gold, and of silver, in silver, the captain of the guard took away. The 2 pillars, one sea, and the bases which Shalomo had made for the house of Yahuah, the brass of all these vessels was without weight. And the height of the one pillar was 18 cubits, and the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the wreathen work, and the pomegranates upon the chapiter round about, all of brass. And like unto these had the 2nd pillar with wreathen work. And the captain of the guard took Serayahu, the chief Kohen, and Sephanyahu, the 2nd Kohen, and 3 keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, took these, and brought them to the king of Babel to Riblah. And the king of Babel smote them, and slew them at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So Yehudah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Yehudah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babel, had left, even over them he made Gedaliah, the son of Achikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babel had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mitzvah, even Yishmael, the son of Nethanyahu, and Yochanan, the son of Kareach, and Serayahu, the son of Tanchumeth, the Netophani, and Yaazanyahu, the son of Ma'akathi, they and their men. And Gedaliah swore to them, and to their men, and said unto them, Fear not to be the servants of the Chaldee. Dwell in the land, and serve the king of Babel, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Yishmael, the son of Nethanyahu, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah that he died, and the Yehudi and the Chaldee that were with him at Mizpah. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies, arose and came to Mitzrayim, for they were afraid of the Chaldee. And it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, that Evil-Merodach, king of Babel, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Yehudah, out of prison. And he spoke kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babel, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life.